Selection is officially underway in the trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Chloe Malas was in federal court today. And Chloe, no jurors selected, but a pretty revealing start to the 8-week trial.
Lester, that's right. It was an illuminating first day of court. Combs entered the courtroom wearing a crew neck sweater and a white button-down shirt. He had some gray in his hair and in his goatee. And at one point, he told the judge that he needed to use the bathroom and that he was feeling a little bit nervous. Now, also, several celebrities were named today, although they haven't been accused of any wrongdoing. They might be mentioned during the course of the trial. Their names are Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, Kanye West, and his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, who has accused him of years of physical and emotional abuse. And she is expected to testify during the trial. Now, Combs has vehemently denied all of the allegations against him. I also want to point out that celebrity attorney Mark Garagos, he was present in the courtroom. His daughter is Tenny Garagos, one of the lead attorneys for Combs throughout this trial. Now, a source telling NBC News that he hasn't joined the team, but he is advising on jury selection.
Day 2 of Diddy's trial just wrapped up, and it's getting messier by the minute. Court docs are spilling major tea. Apparently, Diddy was grilled over why he lied about that viral video of him attacking Cassie. At first, he admitted it was real and even dropped an apology. But just a week before the trial kicked off...
So difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. But sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy. I'm going to rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
That apology magically disappeared. And his lawyers pulled a slick move, filing a motion claiming the video was fake. This right here shows Diddy's nervous, shook even, especially now that Cassie's officially listed as a witness. Things are heating up fast, and it's not looking good for him at all. That video of Diddy putting hands on Cassie is the piece that blew everything wide open, and now, it might just be the thing that lands him behind bars.
Sean Diddy Combs looking to suppress evidence in his federal trial. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is back with the story. Good morning again, Aaron.
And to you, Michael. You'll remember federal agents from Homeland Security investigations were hardly shy when they raided Sean Combs' opulent homes in Los Angeles and Miami, guns drawn. The jailed music mogul now argues those searches and other searches of his iCloud accounts, electronic devices, and New York City hotel room following his arrest were unconstitutional. His lawyers argue evidence obtained through those searches must be suppressed. Diddy's lawyers say the government presented a grossly distorted picture of reality when applying for the search warrants, omitting certain facts and including salacious details from an unnamed producer that were never credible. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, trafficking, and prostitution charges. The defense is also arguing here his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, was a willing participant in drug-fueled sex performances called freak-offs, not coerced, as prosecutors allege. This latest challenge to his case comes 3 months before trial, and as Combs loses one of his attorneys, Anthony Rico says under no circumstances can he continue to represent Combs. He offered no details about that decision, Robin.
Okay, all right, thank you.
His legal team clearly knows how damaging that tape is, and they're doing everything they can to bury it. Before Cassie dropped the bomb and leaked the video, Diddy's camp was calling it all fake, said Cassie was making it up. But the moment the footage went viral, Diddy rushed to Instagram, posted a teary apology saying he was ashamed and ready to take full responsibility. But guess what? That too turned out to be fake moves. Just days later, he deleted the post and came out swinging at Cassie like nothing happened.
When I looked at that thing, to be honest, I thought that the people who was watching it, because you know at those hotels, they have security personnel that watch that stuff. And if they didn't call the police, they should be in jail. I don't care what nobody say. You know, whoever watched that tape and didn't submit that to the authorities, they should be brought up on charges.
Why do you think the video is barely coming out right now? Because you got a lot of people, you know, that's wondering why it took so long.
First of all, they know that Puff probably paid the security personnel because he knew it was on camera. When he made it to the hallway, when she made it to that phone, once that phone picked up, that's going straight to security. That's for emergency purposes only. So either the concierge or somebody that's handling emergency type situations when she picked up that phone. So now Puff probably had somebody pay them off. 9 times out of 10, he had somebody pay them off.
Now he's fighting hard to keep that video out of court. But legal experts have already confirmed the video's legit and it's allowed in court. Diddy's team tried to block it by filing a motion claiming that the Cassie video and all the stuff seized from his mansion was grabbed illegally. They're arguing that the search warrants were too broad, so nothing the feds took should count. Everyone who helped Diddy hide his tracks, including hotel staff who allegedly took hush money, needs to face justice too. These folks didn't just turn a blind eye. They played a role in making sure Diddy could keep doing what he did, unchecked.
Diddy and Ross, which they good buddies, okay? They're gay.
Who?
Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled. They're all gay, okay?
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Khaled is a Hamas supporter. Okay?
Who supporter?
Hamas.
Hamas. Yeah.
Sorry, I said it wrong.
No worries.
Hamas supporter, okay?
Right.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate, tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot.
Hidden in plain sight.
It's hidden.
I think I see what you're saying.
Okay, how do I know this?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How do you know this?
Do you know Sean?
If they hadn't helped cover it all up, there's no way he could have gotten away with hurting so many people for so long. And let's not ignore the celebs who partied at his events, saw the madness unfold and stayed quiet. They're not innocent, they're part of the problem. If you witness crimes and stay silent, you're enabling it. Period. This whole thing has been bubbling under the surface for years.
Last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings. So here's what came out of today's hearing. Number one, the government acknowledged that they offered Combs a plea deal. Combs acknowledged he has no interest in taking that. They're going to move forward with the trial. They also talked about the jury selection process, which one legal expert I spoke to said is probably the most important thing that you want to pay close attention to before the actual trial starts. And thirdly, we learned that Combs will be adding 2 new attorneys to his defense team. And just to recap, Combs, who is 55 years old, could spend the rest of his life behind bars if convicted on sex trafficking and racketeering. He has pleaded not guilty to all.
Back in 2018, a man named Jonathan Dye, who called himself Diddy's alleged sex slave, dropped a bombshell. He said Diddy was pimping out Cassie to other men. But nobody listened back then. It was all brushed off like it was nothing.
Involving the case against Sean Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means, the move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted. The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to sexually exploit both women and men for decades. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution charges that accused him of coercing alleged victims into prolonged drug-fueled sexual activity that he called freak-offs and threatening them into silence.
Fast forward to now, Diddy was reportedly given a chance to flip on the people who were working with him. Court documents say the feds offered him a plea deal, admit to the crimes and name the other big players involved, but Diddy refused. He said he's not snitching and he's ready to roll the dice in court. Jury selection has already started. On Monday and Tuesday, the judge brought in a group of 35 possible jurors. They're expecting to bring in at least 10 more until they have 45 total for what's expected to be a 2-month-long trial.
I wanted to ask you that I found fascinating is that Diddy reportedly yesterday asked that judge for a bathroom break, telling the judge, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm a little nervous today. Were you surprised that he admitted that? And what do you think that reveals about him ahead of opening statements?
I'm so glad you brought that up. Look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The fact that we are going to trial in under a year from when a defendant is arrested and indicted at the federal level doesn't happen. But Combs has been pushing towards this trial date. He doesn't want to spend one more day behind in federal lockup. Having said that, you're now at this case, and the government, this is the Southern District of New York, they don't move forward with the case unless they feel they have the goods. He's looking at not only life in prison, and the maximum charge, but potentially decades in prison. The third charge that he's facing, transportation to engage in prostitution, that can carry 10 years in prison. And some argue that's the most straightforward charge to actually convict him on. So I think he's feeling the weight of what's happening. Jury selection, a panel of his peers coming in to decide his fate. It is real right.
And get this, jurors are being asked if they're okay watching Diddy's so-called freak-off tapes in court. That's how serious this is. Those tapes are going to expose a lot of people, and Diddy's legal team has confirmed they will be played in court. The footage was pulled from his Miami mansion during last year's FBI raid. And according to insiders, the feds are decrypting hundreds of hours of wild footage right now.
They're all going to know who Sean Combs is, but they're going to need to find jurors who, despite the fact that they are familiar with Diddy, they still can be fair.
Prosecutors say Combs turned his significant business interests into a criminal enterprise to plan elaborate sex parties, including drug-fueled marathons where women were coerced into sex and then threatened if they didn't keep quiet. The jury pool filling out a 17-page questionnaire, answering questions about their impartiality amid warnings the evidence is graphic and sexually explicit.
The judge has drilled down on some of those questions that they answered in the questionnaire to see whether or not they had any issues to serving in this.
Prosecutors probably won't show it all, but they've got more than enough to build a case. They're planning to use these tapes to pressure more people into testifying. A lot of folks who agreed to speak out only did so because they knew they were caught on tape. Allegedly, the prosecutors interviewed hundreds of people before locking in the strongest case possible. And with the Southern District of New York's lead prosecutor boasting a 97% conviction rate, Diddy and his team are in for a serious fight.
Jury sits. Will they be shown these tapes?
100%.
Will they have to watch it in court? During
100% in court in front of a room of people. And so that's the other thing that's awful. They are going to be watching basically for hours on end in front of people. So in front of victim one, whoever it may be, there's going to be played in the federal courtroom.
And victim one would have been made aware of this.
Oh, 100%. She's probably being told right now, this is going to be played in open court. Your sex history, your sex life is going to be talked about in open court. All of this.
And presumably then she knows that and she's pushing forward because she hasn't withdrawn.
Don't forget this. It doesn't matter if she does or she doesn't. This isn't a civil case. This is the criminal case. So she could flat out tell the federal government, I don't want to participate. And they can say, we don't care. This is a crime. Crimes are against the United States, not against them. Keep calling her victim one, but don't forget, she's a witness to a crime. So it doesn't matter if she went to them in today and said, I'm not participating. Their response, we don't care.
And just when you think things couldn't get any worse for Diddy, Cassie's coming in strong and she's not backing down one bit. She's the only one willing to testify using her real name, and that speaks volumes. Cassie was with Diddy for 11 years. If she spills everything she witnessed during that time, it could completely destroy whatever defense he's got left.
Allegations implicate dozens of unidentified witnesses and alleged co-conspirators around the world, and some of the key witnesses to the supposed incidents are dead, basically meaning how can we defend against it? The defense is not even permitted to share the identities of the individuals described in the disclosure letter with Mr. Combs until April 18th, further hampering defense counsel's ability to investigate. Collectively, these new allegations require many months, if not years, to investigate, and if admitted, would require a series of mini-trials, certain to double the length of a trial the government originally said would last 3 weeks. So this is an explosive allegation that on its face, I don't know if I necessarily disagree with. If they are bringing in evidence of uncharged conduct, wouldn't the defense have an opportunity to investigate it and challenge it? It seems like they're making a point. So if this evidence is allowed in, there is a chance this could delay the trial significantly. We all know Combs wants to go to trial, but how can he properly defend himself against this in just a few weeks?
The pressure is so intense that even Diddy's own lawyers are walking out. That's right, his longtime legal team from the firm Groom & Shire, Maisel & Sachs, who had been with him for over 2 decades, dropped him like a bad habit right after the feds hit him with that lawsuit. They saw the writing on the wall and decided they're not going down with him. With his legal crew falling apart, Diddy's new strategy? Claim he was too wasted to know what he was doing. Seriously.
Cassie, she plans to testify against Diddy at the trial, and she's going to use her name. So a lot of the women who have accused Diddy are anonymous. They're right. Jane Doe or Victim 1
or John Doe's.
Or John Doe's. But Cassie allegedly, apparently, is going to take the stand and talk about her. Obviously, that tape of him beating her up at the hotel is what set off this whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, this has just made it matters so bad for Diddy. So now that she is gonna sit up there and like look him square in the eyes and talk about her side of the story, that's not great for Diddy, obviously.
No, and like I think also Cassie is a celebrity, right? Like millennials know who she was or is. She had like a booming career back in the day. So I think it also adds some extra zhuzh when you have like a well-known public figure coming forward.
Trusted
And beloved
yeah.
too. So I think that also will hurt him. She of course became public. All of this went public when that video came out from CNN. So it's been revealed who she is already, and now she is not looking to conceal her name. She wants to, put it all out on the table. And yeah, yikes, it could be really bad.
His lawyers filed a motion on Sunday, April 27th, saying Diddy's mental state was messed up because of drugs and alcohol. They're arguing that he didn't understand his actions and shouldn't be held fully responsible. If the court buys this defense, it could mean Diddy dodges a huge part of the consequences. That's why folks are watching this case so closely. This motion could change everything.
Diddy Combs' legal team is getting a little smaller. As the rap mogul's defense team prepares for his May trial on sex trafficking charges, his attorney Anthony Rico respectfully but regrettably requested to be dismissed from his role, according to documents obtained by NBC News. Rico, who is one of 6 attorneys on the case, requested in the February 21st filing to withdraw as representation because, quote, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs, consistent with the ABA's standards for criminal justice. The motion continues, quote, while I'm aware that the local rule requires that an application for withdrawal of counsel is supported and granted only upon a showing by affidavit or otherwise of satisfactory reasons for withdrawal, there are sufficient reasons related to the protections afforded by the attorney-client privilege for brevity in my application for withdrawal as counsel in this case.
But there's more. Diddy's team is begging for extra time to get it together, even though he was the one pushing for a speedy trial in the first place.
The high-powered law firm of Grubman, Shire, Masalis, and Sachs has dropped Combs as a client. Now, this is the firm of Alan Grubman, who is a very prominent entertainment lawyer that represents some very big names. The Weeknd, Madonna, Chris Brown, Paul Simon, Usher, Bruce Springsteen. In fact, by the way, Alan Grubman was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He actually helped found that back in the 1980s. So, gives you an idea about how big of a powerhouse this firm is. Now let's go back to Sean Combs. So the rumor circulating is that this firm did this because singer and actress Lady Gaga had threatened to leave the firm unless they parted ways with Combs. This is according to reporting by News Nation. And it's a big deal because the rapper and producer had apparently been with Grubman's firm for over 20 years. He was friends.
Now that his whole defense is crumbling, the panic is setting in fast. Just days ago, a federal judge shut it down. Judge Aaron Subramanian denied Diddy's request to delay the trial by 2 months. His attorneys claimed they needed more time, but the judge wasn't having it. Now with no delay, no dream team, and Cassie ready to talk, Diddy's running out of moves and court is coming quick. Diddy's inner circle is cracking too, and fast. People who once stood by him are now distancing themselves like their lives depend on it. Some of his closest industry friends have gone radio silent, while others are quietly scrubbing old photos, unfollowing him, and pretending like they were never that close. Insiders say several former associates have already been subpoenaed, and the fear is real.
They're going to try and say that Diddy's mental capacity could not make it possible for him to commit these crimes, claiming that maybe drugs or alcohol could have been at fault. Apparently, a couple of weeks ago, the prosecution offered Diddy a plea deal, which he turned down. We don't know the details of what that plea deal entailed, but he said he's not taking it. This is coming after they've added additional charges, like the second superseding indictment. You know that Cassie video where you see Diddy dragging her in a hotel from 2016? The judge says that it can be included after Diddy's defense team had been trying to have it not included. So according to People magazine, they said prosecutors recently filed a motion disputing any testimony that might show that Sean Diddy Combs didn't have, quote, the mental capacity to commit the crimes he's accused of because of the effects of drugs or alcohol. The motion filed on April 27th references apparent testimony from a psychiatrist on behalf of the defense and asked the judge to prevent his testimony during Combs.
These folks don't want to be caught in the crossfire, especially with all the whispers that the tapes have more than just Diddy doing dirt. Names are allegedly about to drop, and some of them are major players in the entertainment world. And then there's the money trail. Financial records are now under the microscope. Prosecutors are digging deep, looking at alleged hush payments, shell companies, offshore accounts, and sudden cash withdrawals. They're trying to map out who was being paid to stay quiet and what they were being paid for. According to leaked reports, there's proof that big sums were moved right before lawsuits were filed. That's got the feds thinking this was a full-blown cover-up operation.
About the showdown in the courtroom over the bombshell video allegedly showing Sean Diddy Combs beating his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura.
Now, Diddy's lawyers are arguing to exclude the footage from the rapper's upcoming sex trafficking trial. Legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer joins us now with more on what this could mean for the high-profile case. So good to have you. Okay, so they want this video left out. What's their argument for this?
So, Mark Agnifilo, Sean Combs' attorney, is arguing that, and you probably hear this phrase, this is not a true and accurate representation of what the video depicts. He's saying a number of arguments that the CNN had taken this video and sped it up. They kind of chopped it up into this montage, and it's not accurate. He's also making the allegation that the original video no longer exists. And so because this isn't accurate, the jury shouldn't see it. And according to Diddy's attorneys, because the original doesn't exist or it's been tampered with, no video such as this should be presented to the jury.
So what does CNN say about these claims?
So CNN has come out and said, we did not alter it. We did not change anything. And in fact, they're saying that they do have the original as well. So on multiple levels, Sean Combs' argument kind of falls flat, because if it is sped up, and I think there is some degree of it's being sped up, if the original still exists, that can still be used as evidence against Sean Combs, not necessarily to the allegations of trafficking, RICO conspiracy, or the transportational purpose of prostitution, but to show that this is a force that it was used to keep victim number one, who we believe to be Cassie in this video, under his control for the purpose of trafficking and this RICO conspiracy.
And it's not just about hiding the past. This looks like a pattern that's been going on for years. What's worse, some of the businesses tied to Diddy's name might be involved too. There's buzz that certain record label execs and nightlife promoters are being questioned about events that went down at Diddy's homes and parties. It's not just one man under fire anymore. It's the whole operation. With Cassie holding strong, the court refusing delays, and the feds unwrapping every layer. Diddy's empire is looking shakier by the day.
Of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, a judge has denied his request to delay the proceedings, and that means jury selection could start in just weeks. ABC's Phil Lipoff is tracking this case. Good morning, Phil.
Yeah, Gio, good morning. It looks like it's going to. Sean Combs' trial date is set to go on as expected Friday. A judge ruled Combs' criminal sex trafficking trial will begin next month as scheduled after he denied the defense's request for a 2-month adjournment. The trial is set to begin May 5th with jury selection. The judge said it was unclear why there isn't sufficient time to prepare, especially since 4 different law firms are now representing him. The judge agreed, however, to allow alleged victims to testify under pseudonyms, but one star witness, Diddy's ex, Cassie Ventura, is expected to testify under her own name. She filed, you'll remember, a quickly settled civil lawsuit against Combs. The judge agreed with a defense request to receive outtakes of interviews conducted for a documentary produced by Warner Brothers. Those interviews were conducted with potential trial witnesses. Combs appeared in Jailhouse Beige on Friday and was given a moment at the end of the hearing to communicate with his mother and one of his sons. He told them, "I love you and we're good." He has pleaded, we should mention, not guilty to all 5 federal counts and maintained his innocence in the civil suit.
Now here's where it gets even wilder. Rumors are flying that some of Diddy's former bodyguards and staff are ready to flip. These are people who were right there in the thick of it, inside the mansions, at the private events, seeing everything go down behind closed doors. And now, they're done staying quiet. Sources say a few ex-employees have already cut deals with prosecutors. In exchange for protection and possible immunity, they're handing over receipts, texts, emails, voice memos, even time-stamped security footage. And what they're saying lines up with Cassie's story and what's allegedly on those tapes. One former staff member reportedly told investigators that some rooms in Diddy's mansion were locked off during certain parties, and only special guests were allowed in.
His lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, made it very clear that race is going to be front and center.
Let's switch our focus to the government. In my opinion, I'm just going to say it the way it is. No friend historically of the successful black man, okay? None. And they start making this case, in my opinion, as a takedown of a successful black man. Here's a man who has made some of the most important businesses owned by a black man. Run, owned, created, founded. The vision was that of a black man. What have we done? We have reduced him, not everyone, but a large amount of our society, to being a monster. That should make us shake in our boots.
So, Mark Agnifilo, obviously white.
Yes.
The co-counsel is Tenny Garrigus, white. And Mark Garrigus, her dad, who we're told is going to play a significant part in this case, white.
Well, and let's remember, you're going to have at least one witness and probably a parade of witnesses of black females who are going to claim they were victimized by Diddy. And so in order to give sort of a human face to that, maybe suggest that's not the case, that it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the jury is finding cues in every piece of evidence, but also who's representing him. And if they just have a bunch of white folks sort of defending him, all those black female alleged victims are maybe going to look like they're being targeted by his high-priced.
Now those areas are being looked at as crime scenes. This ain't just drama. It's a full-blown investigation with the FBI and federal agents all up in it. There's also word that private security companies hired by Diddy were instructed to destroy surveillance backups after every big party. But guess what? One company kept copies without telling him. And now those backup drives are in the hands of the feds. The whole image Diddy built of power, money, and celebrity is falling apart piece by piece. His brand deals are drying up, businesses are pulling out, and even people who once praised him are pretending they've never met him. And let's not forget, this trial is just the beginning. Insiders are saying more charges could be filed based on what's coming out in court. If the testimonies and evidence keep lining up, Diddy might be facing more than just lawsuits. He could be looking at serious prison time. Diddy's latest defense move? Straight up wild. His legal team is now claiming he's only being targeted because he's a rich and successful black man. They're calling the whole thing racially motivated, but here's where it backfires. Anthony Rico, The only black attorney on Diddy's team reportedly quit the moment Diddy tried to bring that argument into court. That says a lot. With the freak-off tapes about to be shown, Cassie getting ready to take the stand, and his entire legal strategy falling apart, it's no surprise people are saying Diddy's done for. The jury isn't buying excuses, and the prosecutors, they're coming hard with receipts. So what do you think? Is this the end of Diddy's empire? Is he going down? Or is he going to pull one of those classic Hollywood vanishing acts and walk free like nothing happened? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to know what's really going on. This story is nowhere near over, and I'll see you on the next one.